Thank you, everybody, for coming. Open meeting pursuant to MGLC 30A 20F. After notifying the chair of the public body, any person may record or transmit this open meeting. This hybrid meeting is being recorded by the town of Stockbridge. The names of members participating remotely will be announced. Any member of the public wishing to speak must first receive permission from the chair. The agenda items listed are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, but not all may be discussed. And other topics not listed may be brought up for discussion by the public body as permitted by law. Right. So in our annual response from town council, as usual, the anti-aid amendment has come up often. And in discussion with some folks, we've kind of thought about how we can avoid having that happen. And as people who've been on the committee for a while know, like the Norman Rockwell Museum and Chesterwood allow free admission to Stockbridge residents, which we've always considered to be of great benefit. Capalo has its grounds open for people to walk around. And so those are things that we consider to be part of the public benefit when we consider whether what we are doing would fall under the anti-aid amendment. So I was talking with Erica this morning, and I think that may be something we're going to try and add to at least the website, so that people have an understanding about what they might be coming up against when they submit a project, because it's in, I don't know how many of the various applications we've had, several. But anti-aid has been a problem, and I know the theater festival has allowed people to come when they finally get it open to their museum for free. Obviously, they're not going to give you free tickets, but the museum will be free. So these are things that we look for when we're trying to get around. Maybe get around isn't quite how I ought to say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. How we get around the anti-aid amendment. If we need to weigh whether what they offer to the community is of real benefit. So, having said that, does anybody else have thoughts on that subject?
Well, I think it's important that what you said, the workaround, that we really keep in mind whether they're putting icing on the cake just so they can scooch in, or whether they're actually offering something that's worthy of using taxpayer funds to support the project. You know what I mean? Like not find loopholes.
Right.
I think that's really critical.
Agreed. Okay. All right. So having said that, that's something that, yeah.
Just one quick question, Sally. If during our discussion this evening, the anti-aid amendment issue comes up, would one of our applicants have the opportunity to revisit that to qualify for funds for this year?
I would think so. Sure. I mean, it's up to, I'm just one person. It would be something, it would just be a decision that we would have to consider when we were deciding what we should want to do. Now, once again, as always, or not as always, but in the last many years, we have way, way, way more requests than we have money to give out. So folks have to realize that if they're asking for a horse, they're going to be lucky if they get a pony. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. There are a couple of projects that have been disallowed by town council with wiggle room. And one is the 5A Church Street, and it's also the Concopot Apiary and the Stockbridge 250. Town council said that none of those projects could be considered under the regulations of the CPC. And the Stockbridge Sportsman Club fell in that category, but we had a thought about how they might get around that under the anti-aid amendment. And we can discuss that when that comes up. So I propose that we vote to, for first things first, the admin, that we vote to approve that at 15,000. Are you?
No, I'm going to suggest that we do the minutes first.
All right, we can do the minutes. I spelled Patty's name wrong, which I will correct.
I make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from our last.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have, is Ann on? Okay, so we have to do a head count. Aye, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Patty.
Jay.
Hi, Katie.
Aye, Gary.
Aye, Coke. Ann?
Hi, Anne.
Okay, thank you.
Did you hear me?
Yes. Okay, so now, I don't make a motion. I entertain a motion to approve the $15,000 for the administrative fund. You have a second? I can't make the motion.
I make a motion that we do the
Okay.
15,000.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay. Aye, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Katie.
Aye, Gary.
Aye, Coke.
Hi, Anne.
Thank you. All right. So, we usually, these things. Linda, did you want to go first with historic preservation? It does not seem to be the big item
I
this year.
know. We had dropouts.
Yeah.
Um,
Or should we just start with affordable housing?
Your call.
Since it's alphabetically comes first.
Okay.
All right, so affordable housing, the Affordable Housing Trust has asked for two separate requests. We had suggested that they do that because they have been funding emergency projects at the organizations that they are responsible for. One was they gave money to Riverbrook, and they also gave money to Pine Woods for emergency work. We also have Construct asking for $96,000 and I'm sorry, 51.5, and the Stockbridge Housing Authority, which is asking for 25,000. So given that we have, what do we have?
About 500,000 in the general fund, and then there's some in each bucket.
Well, we don't want to give it all away.
Housing only has 6,700 available in there. Not enough to.
All right, so we have $500,000 roughly, and we have typically divided that into thirds, sort of, just because we want to be fair to everybody. That does not compute.
Well, can I ask what the reasoning was in separating the emergency repairs from the broader bucket of the Affordable Housing Trust if all of the funds spent by the Affordable Housing Trust subject to the same criteria under CPA?
The reasoning was that what happens with the money, if they don't use it for that, is they so far haven't done anything with it, really, except for the emergency fund. So it's just a pot of money that's sitting there waiting for a project that they consider to be worthy. But they are still responsible for the three organizations that are part of the affordable housing in Stockbridge, which is Pine Woods,
Heaton Court.
Court, and
Riverbrook.
Riverbrook. So when they have a crisis, they can respond quickly and give them the money, whereas we would have to come back to a special meeting in order to allocate the money, and that whole purpose behind having the affordable, one of the purposes behind having the Affordable Housing Trust. And we thought maybe it would be smart to have kind of a bucket, because that's about how much they spent last year, that was really for emergencies, and then have another bucket that was going to be for future projects.
So when they run out of the bucket for the emergencies,
They can still use their
the
other.
other funds.
Yeah.
I guess that's my point. Why separate it if it's all subject to the same set of criteria?
I don't know. It seemed like we were almost refunding the money to them for the emergencies that they'd already spent their money on. Because what we really want to do is we want to move forward with affordable housing. And protecting affordable housing seemed like another sort of bucket. Yes. What?
He's the chair of Affordable Housing.
Okay.
He's got his hand up.
Mark, or no, Patrick,
Patrick.
go.
Do I need to unmute him?
Yes, Patrick. Unmute.
No, she's got to.
No, we're going to unmute.
Hey, thanks. A couple of things. One, we also funded, which I really think falls in emergency, funds to help people who are otherwise current with their obligations for mortgage and for rent, with a fund to work with Construct to make sure that if somebody has a bad life event like an injury or or gets laid off, that there's a fund to pay 1 or 2 months of those expenses. If you look at what happened during the SNAP crisis, I think that becomes all the more, important as with folks who live often paycheck to paycheck. And I would just point out that 1 out of 5 homeowners in Stockbridge are considered severely cost burdened by the state. So those funds can also be used for people like retirees on a fixed budget if necessary. So that's kind of the bucket on the emergency stuff. And just to comment on the question of what we have or haven't done, we made the conscious decision to hold off and see if the town wants to embrace seasonal communities, which I assume will be on the warrant either later this winter or at the May town meeting, because our strategy is very different if we're a seasonal community and can focus on municipal housing and deed restricted housing than if we can't. So it's not like we're just waiting for the town to decide and give us direction. Thanks.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Patty?
Well, not quite, because the reasoning you said is, I understand that you split into a bucket, but they're asking for the 50,000 for the emergency bucket, but on their annual report from last year, if we were reimbursing them, they said that they had spent $140,000 on those projects for the existing affordable housing. I don't understand the distinction of the two categories if they're all subject. It seems like sort of a fake distinction.
It is
on that
kind of,
level.
but part of how it came to be, I think, is because there's no possible way that we're going to do $150,000. I mean, we don't have it. We're not going to. We can't. Otherwise, we'll use up all of our funds. So it seemed like if we could make a category that that would be the immediately responsive category, to emergencies. And we could kind of hold on to that, if that makes any sense. Then the other one could be, as we have money to give to the overall Affordable Housing Trust, that would be sort of a separate thing. In other words, we'd be supporting the supporting part of it, but not necessarily funding the forward part of it. Does that make sense?
I understand it.
Okay.
I think it's a strange, arbitrary wall to create if they're all subject to the same rules. Like I think if you're saying that we would like to actively commit to the first 50K, if that's what you're saying, then it doesn't matter whether the original bucket is 150 or $500,000. We're just saying that there's a base level that we would like to commit to, and then we contribute to the rest as we can.
Right.
Right?
That's pretty much how it went.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. So we have these four.
Hey Sally, can I ask
Yes.
a question? I don't know if I heard this wrong. Patrick, I have a question. You said that some of these emergency funds are for people with like life crises that need help paying rent or mortgages. Is CPC money allowed to help pay for somebody's private rent and mortgage and all that?
Under affordable housing, yes.
According
Yeah,
to the AMI guidelines for capital A.
Yes. Okay. I just didn't know if I heard that wrong.
And just so you know, the program that we based it on is one that Construct runs for Great Barrington, Lee, and Lenox. So we basically joined that for rental, and we broke new ground with the mortgage. They haven't seen anybody doing that in Berkshire County yet. And let's face it, most of the homes in Stockbridge are home ownership, not rental. And so I think that it's a nice balance. I also just would observe that, after the board discovered the significant windfall in unexpended funds over the last 5 years, that we were given and spent some of those excess funds to deal with the unexpected emergencies that Riverbrook, Stockbridge Housing Authority, and Construct had at Pinewoods. We recognize that sort of largesse is largely over, and would obviously prioritize decisions around the emergency spending accordingly. Thanks.
All right. So, it seems to me that we have, the Housing Authority, has decking and patio and walkways, which is supported by the, all of these town council was fine with. And they're all allowable under the Community Preservation Act. But we have more money that's being requested than we have to give out. So
Sally, if we break it into thirds, it's going to be like 173, 552 for each. If that's the 520 number.
okay. That sounds like a way to start. So if it's 175 and we're being asked for 275, it's not going to make it. So we need to think about how we're going to think about. People have suggestions?
Sally?
Yes.
Would it make any sense on the non-emergency functions to be more definitive on planning new projects? So they're more specifically allocating funds on a specific project by project basis. Does that make any sense at all?
I'm not entirely sure I understand what you're saying. In other words, that you're asked, you would like to have them present us with a specific project?
Yeah.
Fund? Okay.
So we know specifically, what we're dealing with.
Are you talking about affordable housing?
I'm sorry?
You're talking about
The
affordable
emergency
housing?
fund.
Yeah.
The emergency fund or the other fund?
No, emergency fund. Rather the
No, it's the other one.
developmental fund.
Right, it's not.
Right,
The big one.
correct.
Right.
Sorry.
I believe that, you know, being on that board, I believe that we're trying to just keep the pot growing so that when we do have something, we actually have some money to put towards it. We don't have enough money to put towards anything right now.
But, you know, maybe the issue of planning, you know, pushing it out a little bit would make some sense as opposed to just sitting on funds.
Well, as things come up, I mean, there might be a house that comes up that we could take, you know, that we could put a down payment on. You know how much a house costs and that we could use for multifamily or just to, so we're not creating a new building. We could get one that's already existing that has water, sewer, electric.
Well,
that may need some.
there are funds there for a down payment list, you
Yeah,
know, already.
how much money does the Affordable Housing Trust have?
I don't know exactly.
Oh.
Do we have that figure?
Patrick, do we have a figure on what is currently in the Affordable Housing Trust?
Isn't it around 280, Erica?
I'd have to look.
I think that we've had 400,000 and we spent, it's probably even less than that. I think it's around 240. Because we spent 140 and we had already done the housing production plan.
That's not a lot if they have something that they feel like they would like to jump on.
Patrick, another question. DeSisto, do you know what you could be seeing from that project?
I think that's an excellent point. You know, we've got what's the equivalent of residential inclusionary bylaw over the next 3 or 4 years, potentially from DeSisto. That gets paid though as they build the houses. So it's
Okay.
25,000 per house, and I believe that the plan had a total of $575,000 in potential payments. The more significant one is Elm Court, but of course that hasn't been determined whether it's going to be permitted or not. Having said that, I think that Jay makes a reasonable point around, you know, I think that there's a lot of need on the table. I would certainly be okay with prioritizing the existing specified need somewhat, you know, around our partners at Construct and Riverbrook and Stockbridge Housing Authority. I will say, you know, I think if you look around Stockbridge and the Berkshires right now, in Stockbridge, we've conserved about 1,000 acres in the last 5 years. And I believe in Stockbridge, we have really robust nonprofits, thanks to you guys, for example, at the Waldorf School. And you know, so I appreciate the idea of a third, but you know, I do think that housing is in crisis in a way that other buckets necessarily aren't. But if you do decide to spend only 170, I would be okay having less of a percentage go to us so that our partners could get a little bit more.
Okay,
Well, I mean, we have these 4 items on our docket tonight, and 2 of them are actual projects, like
Right.
they're actual
yes.
tangible things, and I think that those should be prioritized. And it seems that there's an appetite for prioritizing the emergency funds also. So I think that we do 1, we 2, 3, and then we see what's left over. I mean, these are real, I mean, prioritizing a hope bucket versus an actual like roof or, you know, bridge or decking repair are very different. I think that these are existing entities that are in need.
I agree. So you are advocating, if I understand what you're saying, that we would fund the Housing Authority and Construct and then the emergency bucket for the Affordable Housing Trust, and then see where we're at for what we would do for the
That's what I
rest
would
of it.
propose.
And we can do that after we do.
And do that after we see what we've got. And then if that's, so the 50, who always had the calculator? help me out when I get lost.
Would you like to know?
I think it was Patrick.
Probably.
It's 125, 1,005 when you put together the 50K, the 25K, and the 51,500.
Okay.
And that's without my calculator, but I can do that part in my
You're a
head.
lot better than I am.
It's,
Mike.
it's 126.5.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. All right, so 126.5. Do somebody like to make a motion that we fully fund the construct project, the housing authority project, and the emergency fund project?
I'll make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Aye, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Gary.
I Coke.
And
Is it too late for a question?
nope,
The emergency fund, is there a maximum amount per event
no,
stipulated? I mean, could the
No.
whole amount go to one event, one person in a year, or
It's just-
should there be a stipulation that each,
Yes.
that it gets split up amongst the various applicants?
Patrick, can you answer that for her?
Hi. I construct manages the parameters of the program, but it's typically limited to 1 month of expense. So it's not an open-ended, give somebody 25,000, and the trust does not control who gets the money, construct does. And it's a program that has been in place for 5 years. It's got a lot of controls and stipulations built into it.
So the 25K that we're authorizing goes 100% to that program that you're discussing, Patrick?
Well, it
The
would-
part-
No, I mean, the money that I'm discussing has already been allocated from prior funds. If it were very successful and there was a tremendous amount of need, the board might go back and allocate more money to that program, or it might, if there was another emergency for sewer at Riverbrook or on a roof for a construct, it would be an opportunity for us to address that outside of cycle.
And also, we have something in place, or we're going to have something in place, that all the funds allocated by the Affordable Housing Trust through the CPA are then verified that they're CPA eligible.
We
Is there-
already do that. We don't
Okay.
spend any, our process is when we vote, it goes to town council, and we elected to use the same council that the town uses. And everything we vote on is subject to approval by Donna and her team.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I vote aye, Anne.
Okay. So that leaves 49,000, or 48.5 that could go into the,
Emergency fund?
the non-emergency fund. So should we put that on the table and see what we have when we're done?
Yeah.
Or could that 48 go to other projects listed that are here, or does it have to go to affordable housing?
It does not. That's what they've requested. Are not required to fund any of these.
No, I'm not, that 48.5, because
It was a third.
it was a third that
Right.
rolled into the other.
Oh, yeah, well, it can.
Okay, that's
But we've traditionally tried to stick with
a third.
a third, a third, a third. Is-
So I would support that as a strategy for like the meeting to kind of like return back
Okay,
after we funded the other stuff and see if that 48 makes sense or not.
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so now we're in Linda's world. Historic preservation, we have Berkshire Theater Group is asking for $150,000. Cemetery and Commission is asking for 44,575. Kripalu is asking for 50,000. And it's odd that it's only those three.
Because one got popped out of that.
Yeah.
And isn't there a component of the gatehouse at Kripalu that the town council said isn't applicable to the signage?
Signage.
Is there a way for us
They
to
said no on the,
understand how much that was? I don't remember.
yeah, they said no on the signage. We usually are kind of arbitrary on that.
And we could just write that into the grant agreement
Yeah.
that it does not
Okay.
cost us. So we won't reimburse anything with that.
So apropos of that, two things. One, there is good funding coming up from the state with the date March 15th. It's the Massachusetts Historical Commission Preservation Projects Fund, $1 million. So we're going to have to urge people to look at these other sources because it's theirs for asking. There'll be 3 Zoom meetings that you can talk to them about it. That might help out some of these projects. And also, town council is asking us to consider the fact we might need a historic preservation covenant because both Kripalu and Berkshire Theater Group are private entities. So that comes back to us in our deliberation. So back to the, we'll go with the theater group first, Berkshire Theater Group. Is anyone here to represent? No. Did we get a report on the use of the administrative funds for the planning from last year?
I believe so.
I-
I
I didn't get one yet.
I've been sending them out as I got them in, but I can.
Okay,
I'll forward them.
we were asking about that in our meeting and I said I didn't know. I'm trying to keep it calm.
Can you access your town?
We're working on that.
I'll make sure I forward it.
I need to make sure I have everybody's private emails if you're willing to give them, because I try and send out everything to both your town and your private email, because some people have difficulty accessing the town account. And there's also, they've just put an authentication thing in, which is just enough to drive you bananas, but it's like a 3-step process now to get into the town email. So yes, in order for it to be official, it needs to go to your town email. But if you can't read it, it's not very helpful.
Well, moving right along. I'm regretting there's nobody here speaking for the theater group because their ask is extremely high and includes 3 different projects. And I think realistically, we could fund 1 out of the 3. And then they don't seem to have any plans, no project managers reporting in here. They have no priorities. So that was our reaction, but we didn't know how little money there was either. So, they're fundable. It's just that what comes first? And they're showing no matches.
I was confused by their application when I read it.
It is confusing. What was your concern?
The windows,
Oh, well, okay, that was a big discussion.
are the windows actually there?
Well, we can't ask them that, but I think they're there. I think that they're covered.
Okay.
In which case, there's the prototype. But they're talking about their new hybrid design for the windows, which we don't want a new design. We want the originals.
He showed us all this at the last meeting.
You did.
Well, that was a loss for me because first of all, no one was speaking to the microphone.
Right.
And I was remote and we got our little bomber. So it never came back on track. So
Okay. And
But
I
that-
didn't bring it with me. He gave us this thing that.
this really should have been part of the application. This is not just for us, it's for others. Okay, so that, and the actual use of the building, it's reiterated, only the museum piece, public spaces that'll have exhibits in it will be free and open to the public. The other, no theater tickets will be involved. So,
No.
there's no question it qualifies. And the town council explained again that might want to look into that preservation covenant with them.
So them being only open to the lobby, the Norman Rockwell Museum is only open, the outside part is the only part that's free.
No,
Oh, the
all admission is free.
Yeah.
all right.
You get to go in the museum shop and
You get to go to the entire museum,
The en-
just show them your driver's license.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a Stockbridge
Stockbridge resident,
resident,
yeah.
it's free. And so is Chesterwood.
I didn't know Chesterwood was. That's good. I didn't
it has
know that.
always been, however.
I haven't been
number of
since I was a
years they
kid, but
published.
I like that.
Dr. Paulo is only the grounds.
Yes.
Right. So just for my reference point, because I'm new, so in the historic preservation categories, the Historic Preservation Commission reviews the proposals before the CP.
Stockbridge Historical Commission reviews.
Okay, right. And
There's
you-
two different committees.
And you make a determination.
Yes, we're the
onto the
ones that answer to
historical.
the state.
I'm sorry. Oh, you answered
We
the
answer to
state.
the state as well as to the
And
town.
then they send their recommendations to town council, and town council takes into
Yeah.
account their
When they make-
recommendations when town council makes their recommendation.
Yes, we met back in November. So, I think that something here is fundable, but not to the extent of 150,000.
What would be your recommendation?
Pick one, and I think the cupola. Start at the top of the building. We don't know anything about the gutters they want to put on. Do they replicate what was there? Are they aluminum, or there's just not a lot of information to help us out here. So that piece of it is, let's see, 30K.
Smitty has his hand up. Maybe he can answer the question.
Smitty, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. I didn't even realize you guys were meeting tonight. I just received a text message about you're discussing the theater, and I apologize, but my video was not on.
It can't be. We got porno bombed at the last meeting, so we
Okay,
have
all
no
right.
videos.
Okay, well, I didn't want to be rude and not showing my face, but I'd be happy to try to address any questions you may have. The part that I just heard was about the gutters. We replaced the roof. The roof was in bad shape, and the roof is now completed. But while we were doing that, we took the gutters off. They were in pretty bad shape as well. So we're hoping to, if our fundraising continues, to replace the gutters. We have a price, I think, of about $15,000 for the gutters alone. And we'll replace those with what's been on there for the last 40, 50 years. The cupola, we've got a lot of the rot cleaned up. The base of the cupola is solid, but the posts and the structure are in pretty bad shape, and that's why we put that application in to see if we can do that. But the roof is done. The rot on the sills and the fascia has been replaced. So I feel very confident, very comfortable. Overall, the building's in solid structural shape. But going forward, we're going to have some challenges, and that's why we put the application in, not only for the windows, but for the cupola as well. And I'd be happy.
Could you expand a little on the windows? Because I think there was some confusion at the table from the historical aspect of what the current window situation is and what the planned window situation will be.
Yeah, if you look at the original building from buildings, as you know, is about 140 years old, moved to its current location in 2028, it'll be 100 years. Those windows have all been blocked out. So when you look at on the 102 side of things, that kind of the aesthetic of the trim is where we want to put the windows back in and have it be open so there's nice natural daylight going into the building. Once we figure out what we're going to be doing in the building, we hope to make it more of a year-round thing, but we're working on that right now as we prepare to hopefully go to the town sometime in the spring of next year to finalize our details with what we want it to be. It's not going to be a theater-only building. is going to be a theater and a total immersive experience, much like what theaters are transforming themselves into all over the country. The fact that this is the kind of the bedrock of American regional theater, this gorgeous building and the history that's of people who've gone through that theater. From Margaret Hamilton, I said that Stockbridge was Wicked before Wicked when we had Margaret Hamilton performing there, who was later the Wizard of Oz witch. Al Pacino and Sigourney Weaver and Katharine Hepburn. It's just a pretty impressive lineup. That I think we need to embrace that and preserve this beautiful building that I hope does not become another photograph in a book. There's a lot of grand old buildings in the Berkshires that unfortunately are just photographs and books now because of demolition through neglect or just fell to the wrecking ball. So I feel very comfortable. The building's in solid shape, but we have to do some things to preserve it going forward. And that's why this whole transformation initiative is taking place. We're working out some of those details, but our main focus has been on the outside of the building.
Smitty?
Yes.
This is Linda Jackson speaking. I'm the chair of the Historical Commission.
Yep.
We met 3 weeks ago to look at the applications. Are you representing the board here?
No, I'm actually working for the theater.
Okay.
Until the end of the year. To try to raise some money to get this place secure. And that's what we've done. I focused on the roof and the exterior of the building to get it shored up to avoid any further decay. And that's why we put the application in to help us with that effort as well.
So what we were lacking at our meeting was more details about the actual priorities here.
Okay.
The ask for your project exceeds the entire budget for the applications for the historic preservation group of applications. So we're trimming the sails here.
Okay, yeah.
We need to know priorities. And the big question everybody had, where are those original windows? Are they still in there? Because it says a hybrid new design, we would prefer to see the old windows, not something new.
Well, I mean, the windows are not there. I mean, the visual look, no, the visual look of that and on the front is just the aesthetic look at it. Just envision that as being all glass. The original windows are not there. On the back side, before that addition was put on, I think some 40 years ago, those arched windows in the back were there, but they were blocked out on the inside. So we've actually replicated, but we blocked it off and we insulated it. Sadly, there's no insulation in that building either. That's the other part of the problem, because as you all know, it was only a theater that was open 4 months out of the year. We've now wanted to make it more of, say, a 10 to 12 month season, bringing people into the Berkshires and telling not only the Stockbridge story, but the Berkshire story as well in a total immersive experience with live theater and an immersive experience as well.
Okay, well, that helps out. I would say the windows are going to be your single largest expenditure.
I think so, but we've got some, we have ballpark prices that I think should be in your application for replacement of the windows. And that was based on today's pricing, and I know how the CPC process works, that if you guys approve this, the money wouldn't be available till after July 1st of 2026. So we built in hopefully a cushion that would allow us to deal with pricing increases over the next year. But I think the cupola and the windows would really highlight that building in a very special way and actually draw people in. I every time I drive by Route 102 going east or west, that building catches my attention, and I say, for all that traffic, it could be a real shot in the arm for Stockbridge in many, many ways, bringing people into the Berkshires and staying at the Red Line Inn or staying in an Airbnb or whatever. But I think it's an economic driver. And for something that I think the numbers, that don't hold me to it because I don't have it in front of me right now, but I think in the application, it's been closed since COVID. But prior to COVID, it was generating over $500,000 of economic impact. And think about that. That was only for 4 months out of the year. So if we make it more, say 9 or 10 to 12, I think it could be a real good shot in the arm for Stockbridge and the Berkshires as a whole. And I look at the Berkshire Theater Festival that was here 12 years before Tanglewood. You know, Ted Shawn danced on the front lawn of this theater before he went to establish Jacob's Pillow. So I think this is such an important building, a great history, and something that we all collectively should be doing what we can to preserve it for future generations.
Well, just two things. When you're saying the funds are available July, whenever the date, actually, payment is tied to product. You have to undertake this in order to get reimbursed.
Yep.
So that means a doable project right now, given the fact we can't completely fund it. And also the legal counsel for the town is suggesting historic preservation covenants for the privately owned projects. We have two on the table tonight. And that's just a protection that's recommended by the Community Preservation Coalition, as well as our general counsel.
Okay, I'm not really sure what that, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not really sure what you're explaining to me, but.
If you yourself, I'm sure, have maybe looked at the Community Preservation Coalition, there'll be samples of that there.
Okay.
It's more customary probably in larger towns, but at the same time, it's a protection for both entities. The historic building and the town who's putting the funds forward.
Yep.
So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, we're continuing to do our fundraising because the interior of the building, I mean, the electrical system is totally outdated. There is no heating system in there. The reason it was closed down and never reopened since COVID was because of the air quality. The HVAC system is obsolete. So we have a lot of work to do on the inside. And that's why we thought that with the CPC and the history of the town of Stockbridge, preserving the exterior of this building was our priority to come to you in the first place, while we continue to raise money to repair and update and upgrade the interior of the building as well.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a plan.
So it looks as though if you break it down, they're talking about $30,000 for the cupola, 15,000 for the gutters. And Smitty, do we know, are those gutters historic or it's just a practical thing?
They were just the gutters that were on my house. Nothing fancy. They were just seamless metal or aluminum gutters.
Okay, so that actually probably would not qualify for something we could do under historic preservation because it's not.
It will qualify.
Will it?
Yeah, they did. The problem is we have to have more specific information. And you probably know the plans for this building are in the Stockbridge Library Association historical collections.
Yeah, what additional information would you need on gutters?
What were the gutters? Or
What
were
were
there?
they?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You have to look at the plans and see what other documents. I mean, with your archival rearrangement, you might even have some of those early communications.
All that I know is there were 3 layers of roofing on that building.
Yes.
Which go back 100 years, and those gutters were probably there for at least 40 or 50 years, and they were just regular gutters you'd see on a household, nothing fancy.
Well, maybe your roofing contractor could give you that information. You know, he must have been up there looking at them, so.
No, he took them down. I'm saying they were just regular gutters. They weren't anything special or historic at all.
Okay, that's the verification we're looking for.
I'll
So
bring
maybe the difference between the original type of gutter, which is bigger and more
Right.
expensive, as opposed to the aluminum extruded.
Right,
So there would be a differential there.
I don't know how we could show you if there were even gutters on there 100 years ago.
Photography. There are pretty good pictures of the building because I located two that were in the oddest place, but it gave me the perspective on the window problem.
Hmm. I've seen a
So-
lot of the old photographs, which are not in the greatest shape visually, to see if there were gutters and downspouts. But I can do a little bit more research if that's what you're looking for.
Sometimes just enlarging the image allows you to see those details.
Yeah.
Even making a giant slide and doing, that was the old way of doing it, to look at those details.
Yeah.
But that would be allowable even if it wasn't with the original structure.
Well, yes,
I
as a
mean,
protection.
it seems to me that if there's one we can cut out, that's it.
I'm going to flip here for a minute because the
Yes.
recommendation of the, oh, and I probably don't have every page because that's when the printer died. We'll get back together on this in a minute.
Yeah.
Reasonably, I think that for tonight, we should focus on the gutter and the cupola. Start at the top and go down.
Not the windows?
Their ask for the whole project is 150,000. We have 88,000 just for historic preservation. So we can't fully fund it today.
If I had to prioritize, just from my own experience, the cupola would be number one, the windows would be number two, and then the gutters would be number three. And if we could get a commitment that we could move forward with the windows, because that is probably the most expensive single item of the exterior of that building, even in year two of this fundraising. I mean, our goal is to get this thing reopened, for the centennial anniversary in 2028. In a perfect world, I would love to see this project get done in late 26, early 27, if we can raise the money. And then we'll just have a big old party on New Year's Eve on 2028. But the windows are probably the single biggest exterior expense we're going to have, because everything else is in pretty solid shape now that we're done with the roof and the rot. And I think replacing the gutters would help alleviate any future rot as well. You can't have a brand new building and have, just drip edge from flat roofs and a big tall building. So diverting that water, I think, would be very important, and diverting the water away from the wet basement would be very helpful as well. I'm not sure if I understand the argument about trying to replicate gutters of 100 years ago, when for the last 50 years they've just been metal gutters.
It's called historic preservation. That's all I can say.
No, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
I think otherwise, I have to say, without a really good budget here, how many windows at 35,000 apiece are we talking about?
There's three windows in the front,
Right.
but next time you drive by, they really go from the ground up to the arch, and there's three of them in the front. So they're very large, and individually going to be a lot of framing, insulation, trim work, and whatnot. And believe it, sadly, well, I shouldn't say sadly, because the architect's number blew us away. When we add an actual number from a couple of window companies, we were pleasantly surprised how much cheaper it was than the architect's financial projections for those windows.
The windows are such a striking feature of the architecture.
But 3 times $35,000 is.
Yeah.
105.
Okay, once again, we only have $150,000 for the.
Right.
I'm sorry, I beg my pardon. Sorry.
175.
Yeah.
So if we granted Cropalo the 50,000 that they're asking for, I'm just adding.
50/50 and something.
And 45,575 to the, 44,575 for the Historic Commission. And 105 for the windows, we'll say. It goes a little over.
A lot of.
Is it common practice as we allocate the funds to distribute them across all the projects that are legally available rather than say like fully fund one project and perhaps eliminate a one that doesn't get funded? Like, what is the
We try
practice?
and spread the wealth around as best we can.
So I'm going to say one thing about this particular project because it's such a huge project. Like their project is over $5 million, and this is a tiny fraction of it. And in the world of historic preservation, of which I have zero expertise, I just know the building. This is an unusual opportunity for the town because it's a historic project and yet it's a living project. So they're trying to bring a historic, it's on the historic register of the state and national level, back to life and give it use. Unlike, no offense to the Hearst House, the cemetery, or the Gatehouse, which I think is lovely at Kripalu. This is a once in a generation opportunity to bring a historic and also living structure back to life that contributes significantly on many levels to the town beyond its historic presence in the town. So I think its footprint is disproportionate against the other projects. So I think that that's just something to think about. I don't know what's practical from how this committee usually works, but I think this is a once in a generational opportunity to mix historic preservation to a living, breathing being and bring it back to life. So
Two things, particularly under historic preservation, good planning is the key. You may plan longer than you do the project, but that eliminates the variables. And the fact that we only have so much to give out, we look to see if people have strong matches for this, because we're not going to be able to pay the entire bill for these kinds of.
No.
So it would have been really helpful if the architect of record had added to this application, because that would be setting, again, priorities that would make sense, for people that don't have the ability to grant you more money than we have.
Well, when I started with the theater a few months ago with the focus on this, trying to raise money for this building, it was my suggestion to the board and to Kate McGuire that we have the baseline of an architect's drawings and cost estimates, but until we're really ready for an architect, from my experience, and I spent prior to the legislature, spent many years in construction. I could speak the language, I understand it, and I dealt with contractors. I think we could save ourselves a lot of money, and we don't need an architect at this point. So getting the roof done, getting 3 layers torn off, we did that without the architect. Repairing the cupola, working with a contractor. We've got the base of the cupola secure, but the upper portion is in pretty tough shape.
A lot of that was from the Hearst House.
Sorry.
That.
He's thinking.
So we're looking at, if we fund everything in historic preservation, it's $199,575.
Deal.
Wait. No, Smitty. No, Smitty. Nice try. So we have $88,000 in undesignated funds in our historic preservation pocket. So if we fund fully the windows only, we could snag some money out of the undesignated. And if, I'm not saying, we haven't decided yet whether we're going to do the whole thing for Kripalu and or the cemetery. But if we did, we could take the money out of the undesignated funds and make up that difference.
Except we're still not hitting $150,000.
No, but 105. That's what they're asking
Yeah.
for the windows.
Okay. That actually.
If I could just add one last thing, and I apologize, I'll just shut up. This building has been closed for almost 5 years now, since COVID. I think it's in a critical stage right now historically. Like I say, I feel much better that the roof is done. To go through another winter in the Berkshires with the roof in the condition it was in would have been disastrous, in my opinion. But there's a lot of work that's still to do to secure the building and keep the basement dry and keep mold from moving in and on there. So I think we're at a critical stage historically on this particular building, and the history of itself. I think, like I say, 12 years before Tanglewood. It's just unbelievable when you think about that. You know, what was drawing people to the Berkshires from an arts and cultural standpoint 100 years ago. It's pretty amazing where Stockbridge was at the forefront of all of that. And I think we're at a critical stage that if we waited 5 more years, we may be here in front of you with a different conversation, unfortunately. So I don't think we can wait a lot longer to make sure what we do on the inside is a whole different conversation. What we do on the exterior now, I think, is critically important.
Got another hand up.
Georgia.
My question is, the windows should be historically correct for that period and not modern day windows. And I'm a member of the Historic Commission, and I said that when we met before. So I would like to be assured that the windows are going to be historically correct on this historic building.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's kind of opinion from the Historical Commission. I just want to look one more time what they said.
So that would mean single pane, no insulation.
Well, not so much that, but maybe the configuration of the window,
yeah,
being aluminum, say. I mean, there's a lot riding on this, but it just seems like this is the part we have the least information about. The cupola is obvious. Gutters, we could figure that one out too. So we can offer a smaller amount, period. We just can't fund the whole thing right now.
I just remember when we renovated the Lenox Town Hall 25 years ago, when I was a selectman, the windows were an issue, and we actually spent more because the building was built in 1901. So the historical folks wanted wooden windows. They weren't modernized windows, but we had, thermal panes, but they were wooden structures. So if that's what Georgia means by the historically significant, not aluminum windows, I'm all for that. But to be honest with you, it's probably going to cost us more money, but we feel very comfortable with what we're asking for right now. But the configuration, hopefully in that application, I did not put this together, but hopefully in that configuration, you'll see a rendering of the look of those windows. And I think the configuration is going to be what it was 100 years ago.
Georgia has her hand up.
Georgia?
Smitty, I'm not talking single pane. I'm just saying architecturally, the way it might have been there. And they have modern windows now that would fit in that space, that would make it still look historical.
And that's exactly what we're proposing.
That wasn't,
That's not clear.
Yeah, that was not clear.
Yeah.
And that's why we hesitated about it. What is clear are the cupola and the gutters are going to be needed, and the recommendations were that. So we can offer this amount that's going to be lesser, and you'll have to be able to match it, I guess.
Yep.
That work.
So what is the proposal right now? I've lost track.
Me too.
The full 105 for the windows, but we've eliminated the cupola from the running?
Well,
even though we found some slush fund somewhere?
Yeah, I don't know. If we offer the money what's the number you're now saying? I'm sorry.
So in historic reserve, the cemetery commission wasn't able to complete the hearse house. So they gave that money back. So in historic reserve, there's $88,384.
But the money
that can only go to a historic project.
Right, but the money that came back, the hearse house money will go to the vault house. That was the idea.
If that's how
It's
the
already
committee
spoken
wants
for.
to vote,
Yeah, we had already kind of figured that one out. Because there's no more money.
Can I ask a process question? Because it seems that historical commission weighed in and saw that there were some gaps in this application. And I know that it doesn't seem that you go back to the applicant and say, we'd like to fund this, but we don't have enough information. And yet, when I walked in today, there was like an additional information from the Sportsman's Club as if they had seen the legal review and they, so I'm just curious, I'd like to learn about the
Okay,
process.
the most important thing to remember is the CPC, this is a process established by the state.
No, I know that part.
So therefore, particularly with historic preservation, they stipulate that the historical commission looks at the applications. We don't talk about merit, we talk about whether it's historic. And we turn that back to our general counsel and they review it and then they bring, you know, the anti-aid and all this other stuff. But that's the process and it's by statute. We don't negotiate with applicants at that point because they're not at the table. It's the historical, here's the table tonight.
Okay, so this might be relevant because I'm the newest member of the group, so I had to do the most research to walk into the room tonight. And I know that other towns have two-stage processes, so it might be something that we consider in the future so that we avoid situations like this where we have an applicant that's worthy on some level that we would like to give full consideration to, and they've fallen short in their application. And that's a failing of the system. It's a failing of their knowledge, which is understandable. This is a complicated process, but it's also somewhat a failing of the system. So I know that in other communities, they have a two-stage process to avoid that. So I'm just trying to, like, for future reference, maybe like put it on the pin board or something, say that maybe it's something we have to think about because we've run into this with an applicant that may be worthy, maybe not be worthy, but it doesn't matter because we don't have enough money.
Okay, our biggest problem is that there is no more money and it's diminishing. And so everybody on this committee, I think, did you get from Stuart Saginaw explaining there's over 200 towns now involved? The amount is now diminishing and there's a third factor. Oh, something about not that many transactions in real estate.
Right.
Because the interest rate is very high.
That was a bad year.
So it wasn't, we don't have control over that. is what I'm
Right, and
trying to
state
say.
matching is continuing to go down.
So also the way the statute's written, this process is pretty clearly stated. And it has some checks and balances.
We have asked people to come back, though. We did that last year with the
Yeah.
Affordable Housing Trust so that we could put it off and say.
That's
if
why
you
we
could come
always
back with
have
us.
that second meeting
Yeah.
in our
Right, have it on the
possibilities,
schedule.
that if it's something that we think that they can come back to us with clarity, we can table our vote.
Yeah, it's the process, you know, really, you got to give high marks to people that come up with the matches because there just isn't going to be any more money. So we're going to have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'm not sure when they drafted the Community Preservation Act that they thought about the diminishing return.
Yeah, the fact that everyone's going to jump
I mean,
in.
they've been trying to get the state to pad the budget for years or to up the transfer tax and things like that to be able to give more money because, you know, as soon as Boston and Springfield and whoever else came in.
But Worcester and Springfield are already in. Boston, I think, has joined. So
Then, you know,
diminishing returns.
even though we were smart enough to get in on the ground floor.
We were the second town in Berkshire County. So we were lucky early on. We were able to take advantage of what was there. So now we have to spread the wealth. So I'll be open to someone else making the recommendation. We know what the town council said. We know what the historical commission put forward. So.
All right. So do I have some recommendations about, well, what do we think about the Kripalu project? Are we good?
Well, let's
with
look at,
that?
let's see what, let's make sure town council.
They were fine with it except for the
Signage.
Not fun signage.
How much is the signage?
I don't know if they
couple
broke that down.
$1,000, I would imagine.
It's no big deal.
That's a fundable thing for them. It's just like the project with Proctor Hall. the things that we could not cover, they're undesignated donations. We pick up that slack and we could stay, clean and clear of the conflict. So let's see. The only thing with that, again, they may be asked to do the historic preservation restriction covenant because it's privately owned.
Which they may or may not be willing to do.
Well, we don't have a representative here tonight, so we can't discuss that. I know, I'm quite surprised.
All right,
You
so
want
it
your money.
sounds like we have
I
questions
think it's-
that need to be answered before we can make a decision on historic preservation.
So we table this till next time.
So, yeah, I would suggest that we table
Yeah.
this until the next time we get the answers to Erica. Can you ask Kirkpalu and the theater if they're willing to give the covenants and we'll see if we can't get something more specific on the windows.
Maybe on the covenant, you could get a checklist sample from the CPC. I don't have one. I probably do at home, but I don't hear. But they're recommending it now. This is a financial benefit for.
A lot of things.
Which means that we'll need to meet again.
And look at this.
Okay,
Now, we
So-
have 17.
open
Space and recreation.
space and
It's a big
recreation.
category right now.
So the 5A North Church Street Town Council said we could not do because it's a privately owned, that's that. And they said the same about the Concord Apiary. I'm looking at that, I mistyped B where there should be a P and that got me thrown. So town council disallowed both of those projects under the anti-aid amendment.
What about Stockbridge 350?
Stockbridge 250 was also disallowed as it was not, it did not fit CPIA criteria.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes,
If it was awarded last year, what would the difference be between last year and this year?
it wasn't.
Yeah, that's how the 250 got them funding from last year. It was from the CPC.
What?
For the revolution.
That was general funds, Katie. I put it in the budget.
Oh, okay, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, that was,
the-
Never mind. Sorry.
CPIA funding. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I did not remember that.
My bad.
Okay, so those three are definite, we can't do it. Laurel Hill Association has asked for 50,000, 650, Steve. For the Chestnut Preserve, SBA, wanted more invasive removal at Bullard Woods, Berkshire Botanical Garden, ADA parking, which also fell onto the anti-aid sword. Berkshire Waldorf wanted to do the park bench, which was okay. Friends of Gould Meadows wanted to do the expanded parking, that was okay. Norman Rockwell wanted to do the tree preservation, which kind of wound around but came out okay. So we have those projects. Parks and Recreation, upgrade the Bidwell Park Playground, and that was also okayed by town council. So we had a couple of questions since we came up against the anti-aid amendment for both the Botanical Garden and the Sportsman's Club. How we get around that. The Botanical Garden does not currently offer any sort of benefit to Stockbridge residents in terms of admission. And we were batting around the application from the Sportsman's Club. And we were thinking that, or I was thinking, everybody else can disagree with me. But one of the things that I thought might be a really good benefit for the Sportsman's Club to do was if our police department got free use of the range. Yes.
Just so you know, we have 3 police departments that use our facilities.
Yeah. We don't care about the other
All
ones.
right. We do because they're all respected. When they do their qualification shooting, they literally destroy a lot of targets. You don't charge them for any of it. Our membership fee for all members is the same. It's $100 per year. That allows them to use that facility 365 days a year. And some people actually use it almost that much. The police department, as members of the police department, they are also given individual memberships as a result of that $100 fee. And they come in and shoot individually at various times. I'm in the office up there now as treasurer. I pay the bills and make the requests. And I see those officers in there and they're trained. And I'm happy to go back to our board of directors meeting, which is tomorrow night, and ask them for an opinion. But I believe the response is going to be, with all the other things we don't charge them that we charge other people, I think we do a pretty good job for our police department. I love that police department. They make sure they're patrolling not only the town, but we're part of the town.
You understand that this anti-aid amendment thing is a big deal for us to give money to a private entity. And you are a private entity, or
We're also
you may,
a nonprofit.
that doesn't, they don't care about that.
$65,000.
Which might get you what you want
Interesting.
in terms of being a benefit to the town.
Which part?
Well, in order to give money to a private entity, even if it's a not-for-profit doesn't really mean anything for us in terms of an application, because so many of our applications are from not-for-profits. It really just depends on what the not-for-profit does, whether it's a museum or whatever it is. But the point of the anti-aid is the benefit to the town. In other words, you're asking the town to give money to a private entity. And in order to justify that, we have to justify that there is a public benefit from the town of Stockbridge. So paying taxes, if you're a 501c3, might qualify.
I think the point should be raised and can be better expressed by Jim or Gary. The point could be raised as to does this organization afford promoting public welfare? And it does, really. I mean, basically, beyond training in the use of varied types of weapons and things, there is expertise that is brought relative to wildlife in the town of Stockbridge. For example, were there to be an animal, a bear issue or dead animal somewhere, these are the people we would go to for expertise. And I mean, there is nobody who would supplant that expertise. I think this is a fringe one. This is a semantics issue. I think they definitely do afford public welfare advice to the town. Jim?
Well, getting back to Sally's concern and obviously the other people's concern, I'll be more than happy to bring it up with the board meeting tomorrow. And I'll make this commitment to you that should this be approved, it would go into effect next June or July, whenever it is it's approved.
Okay.
So I will present to the board that we consider the Stockbridge Police Department not paying dues next
Or
year.
even half dues,
Pardon?
even half dues,
I'm sorry.
even half, maybe.
half.
I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself.
I just think we're better off, either we do or we don't.
Okay.
We already covered a
That's
lot
up
of
to you.
expenses that they incur for us, and we do it willingly,
Yeah,
because we appreciate what the police department does.
right.
But in fairness to the other 420 members that we have, we charge the towns of all three towns the same individual membership fee for each year.
Right.
That's all we do.
I get it. It's just that we have different things that we have to look at, and public benefit is the big thing that we have to look at when we are granting money to a
Oh, Patrick.
to a private entity. That's just, it's the regulations.
Well, I would submit that we already provide a tremendous public benefit to those people who need to have a place to train with their firearms legally. And we do it in an area that is protected, well protected. And at the same time, we manage the rest of the property for the benefit of the wild. And you should see some of the animals we get on our trail cameras up there. It's pretty exciting. Gary would like to say something.
Well, it's several different things. One is that, it's true, we have 440 paid members, including the police departments of Lennox, West Stockbridge, and Stockbridge. And they use it. I understand that,
Sorry.
Well,
but don't worry.
Of course, it's spam.
if you looked at your packet from us, Chief Fennelly wrote a very nice letter strongly supporting this project. So
Yeah, we understand
All right,
that.
so we have 440 memberships out, but every membership covers the whole family. So we probably have 3 times that as actual members. And when we first started the Sportsman's Club 45 years ago, we put in as one of our purposes was to set up and make totally safe firearm practice ranges. And that's one thing that we did. We have pistol, we have a rifle, we have shotgun, skeet, we have archery inside and archery outside, which is a huge part of the club. And it took away from the old, when I grew up, people shot in their backyards, they shot in the gravel pits all around. There was shooting everywhere. Now it's really concentrated basically in one area. And that was very important. One of our very important opening projects of the whole idea of acquiring land. And in that regard, we have 206 acres of land up there that's open space. We probably cover maybe 6 acres of it with buildings and our ranges. So we have, at no cost to anybody else except ourselves, we have bought 206 acres of land up there. That's open space along one of the corridors, the main corridors coming into town from West Stockbridge side. And that was one of the main purposes of the Stockbridge Land Trust. So here we've helped in a lot of other ways too. And I know most of you may not recall it, but back when the ADA land, law came into place, Dr. Hall was no longer suitable for town meeting. So our Sportsman's Club donated at no cost to the town the use of our clubhouse hall for the town meetings. But I think
How many members, just out of curiosity, are Stockbridge residents?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, I'm assuming there's a lot. But do you also have the West Stockbridges?
Than anywhere else.
Okay.
We did have we had quite a few members from New York, but when the governor made this new law last year, they all dropped because the law makes it incredibly difficult for them to bring any guns in to shoot at our ranges.
Oh.
So that was not not a good law for us, for sure.
All right.
But
Sally?
Yeah, hang on a second.
Can I ask, Gary, is the land that you referenced, the 200 acres, is that protected, the outside of the sports, of the side of the recreational area that you use? Or
the land is in the Forest Legacy program that we set up through,
Chapter 6.
George was lucky and the Berkshire Natural Resources Council.
It's chapter 61 land?
Other parts of it are, forestry in the forest program. And, no CRs, or anything like that on the rest of it.
Okay. I'm not saying you can't make the case for being, I'm not saying that the case can't be made, that you do in fact provide public benefit, but I think that's the thing that we have to establish in order for us to grant money. And you've made some very excellent points tonight.
I would just add to that, it's in our original request, the CPC committee, they approved the League Sportsman's Club last year getting $26,000 for almost the identical type of project that we're presenting. Our project is going to cost more because we have facilities that are out, but we are providing them for handicap accessibility. That was the only goal of this program, is to provide better handicap accessibility.
We still have to get the stamp from town council though. Patrick.
Yeah, I would just like to advocate on behalf of the Sportsman's Club for a different reason. To answer your narrow question about the benefit to the town, it is the fact that there's 200 acres that are directly above the water source for half the town. We all know that organizations have to meet their budget, and to save $500 for the police and put those 420 memberships at risk could hurt their ability to be a going concern budget wise. Meanwhile, what we have is a situation where rather than develop some of that land, which could put our water source at risk, these people have preserved those 200 acres. And I have to say, in all my years on the Conservation Commission and on the Select Board, that these guys in the Berkshire County League of Sportsmen were some of the strongest preservationists I ever encountered. And I think that, to answer your question, Sally, the benefit here is that these guys are, the land use protects the water supply.
Okay.
So Patrick, because you seem to know the numbers, this quid pro quo that we're suggesting with the police department, is it really just a couple $100?
$800.
I figure it's $100, 10 members. That's $100, $1,000 in revenue. Yeah.
That was just a thought. As I was trying to think of, what is the public benefit, but you, like I said, I think you've made a case.
Just quickly tell you one more story about our public presence. When the BNRC, the Berkshire Natural Resources Council, was suffering the very bad, I don't know if it was the economy as a whole or whatever was going on, but they were hurting. They were basically going to go out of business. We offered our Sportsman's Club, and we formed with the Berkshire County Natural Resources a group called Sportsman's for Land Preservation, and it was held fundraising dinners for 5 consecutive years at our Sportsman's Club. And those 5 years, we kept the BNRC in business. We raised $50,000 or $60,000 each one of those years for those years, and that $300,000, excuse me, kept them in business until they were bequeathed $5 million by a member of their board who passed away. And but that was some of the most wonderful experiences that we had up there, where people that, very wealthy people that were donors of the BNRC for years and were still trying to help, but apparently wasn't enough, mingled with sportsmen from, many from Stockbridge. My wife and I were on the board of the Sportsmen for Land Preservation, and it was just a wonderful thing. We auctioned off opportunities to shoot skeet as a prize, and a week in Provence, France, donated by one of the PNRC people, things like that. And it was such a mingling of different cultures that everybody loved, everybody loved.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a straw poll. Do we feel that the Sportsman's Club has met the criteria for anti-aid?
Yes.
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 Okay. All right, so, all right,
Also,
so,
thank you for serving on this board. I'm watching you. First time I've been at one of these, and I am amazed. I mean, you guys have to have the wisdom of Solomon to figure all this out.
we do. It was really fun when we first started out. We could fund absolutely everything that anybody came in and asked us for. But unfortunately, that's not the case anymore.
Sally, can I ask a procedural question?
Sure.
When the applicants come in and they reference other sources of income, is it okay to ask them where they fundraise the rest of the project from? Just roughly?
Yes,
I was just
they
curious,
tell you.
because you have 36,000 coming from other people. I'm not familiar with the organization, so I was just curious. How else do you fundraise for something like
He's
this?
our treasurer.
He's the money man.
The budget, we have already saved that amount of money since COVID ended with the goal of improving handicap accessibility.
So it's
That's
self-funded.
been at the top of my list in terms of club improvement projects. Because I feel it's very important for people in a wheelchair or whatever to be able to have the same access that we all have. So we already have the money that I listed there for matching, it's in a certificate of deposit in Lee Bank.
I don't think you had answered the question.
Right.
It's self-funded by your organization, right?
You do raffles like every organization.
You're not out getting grants or something.
The self-help. We do have the self-help.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the detail.
Thank you, Coke.
Thank you.
I think, Sally, based on your straw poll, we should make a recommendation. to the Council.
Yeah.
And include these subjectivities in the recommendation.
So do you want to make a motion?
I would make the motion that we articulate the subjectivities brought forth this evening and bring them back to legal counsel for legal counsel's review and approval.
I second.
They don't necessarily, they don't necessarily have to approve it. We have to.
Recommendation.
We have to say
Recommendation.
that we believe, because, they don't live here and they don't know everything that goes on in town. So we have to justify it in our own minds that the applicant has met criteria in order to avoid the anti-aid.
Make the motion that the applicant has met.
Yes.
Based on discussion, the criteria required.
Yes. Okay. Katie, you want a second?
Yes, I do. I second.
All right, I, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Liz.
I'm going to abstain on this vote. I'm just abstain.
Okay.
I, Jay, approve.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, dear.
I Ann.
Okay. All right. So
what do you have? You have 1, 2, 3,
we missed Coke.
7 approved?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Ann?
7.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was the 7.
7 with 1 abstain. Okay, so the motion passed. All right, so you're now in the running.
Thank you. Let me know if you need more information.
My son just joined.
Pardon?
My son just joined.
Good. God, I processed that.
Getting kept
Nothing gets by him.
I would mention when Jay raised that subject, that was interesting to me when I found out about the legal aspect of that being questioned by our attorney. And we've all had experiences with attorneys, so forgive me, but it's interesting that the town of Leeds approved this the Leeds Sportsman's Association for the identical project that we just requested. I mean, it just, It makes you question what's happening.
We just have to abide by what town council recommends.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so I was just trying to do a thing here and then I got lost. 35.
It's crazy. I took him out of the computer, so.
Okay, 35,000.
This doesn't have anything.
Do we have to go through the same process for the botanical garden because that one was in?
We do. But they're not here.
Yeah, that's a problem. No.
Can't say it.
And all right.
Oh, I see what you do.
All right, so in open space and recreation, we have $263,500 that is being requested. If I added it right, which I wouldn't guarantee you. Sorry,
It's probably close enough.
it's not my strong suit. What can I tell you?
It's a lot over.
The open space does have the 83,000.
Okay, so open space has 83,000, but we really do not want to spend all of our money because you never know. Okay, so that means what did I say?
You said 263.5, I think, something like that.
263,500.
Yeah, so that's roughly $100,000 over what we have,
Okay. So
just as an FYI.
we
We can
got
just go quickly.
one,
Sorry, Katie.
three,
Just kidding. Good luck.
Thank you.
5.
Oh, no, and I missed the Stockbridge Sportsman's Club, hang on. So that's 293,005 that we have not. So budget trimming is going to have to be a thing here. And they all seem to be worthy projects.
Wasn't the Rockwell one not approved by them?
No, it wasn't.
No,
Rose.
It was
approved.
okay.
It's just the
He went
apiary.
round and round and then came back to saying it was okay.
The tree
Yeah.
work. Okay, because that's where
Yeah.
it's a cloud in this type.
And they've already met their criteria for anti-aid by having,
Okay,
they
have open to the public.
yeah, and the Waldorf School, it's a public bench, so there's no question about that.
The only problem is its proximity to the memorials.
Is that,
Yeah.
I did a drive-by today.
okay,
The bench,
but is that,
we may have to get Patrick on there at some point, but it doesn't even specify what the material is. It really looks like an ice cream parlor, like a fixture, and I don't think it's going to do what they want it to do. Sky's the transformer.
yeah,
I mean,
It's-
right
it's
now the
only
little
1/4
trees are
round.
this high, but the big yellow poles in there, which are probably required by law or OSHA or something, it's a very difficult thing.
I have to say, I did not think it fit in with the design fit in with the decor.
Right. I would like to make a motion that since these two poor guys have been here all
Yes.
night,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, come on down.
and they do, I think that we give them the 45 and let them go home.
I think you're right.
This side of the table, we appreciate.
Ron, can you just explain your thing about this? I mean, you've given a lot of your money back, so that's a big thing. So it came out, I think, to like $25,000 or something like that by the time you gave the money back.
Those figures.
And
Over the years, we put extra monies.
originally it started here, he was here, he mowed the fields and that was like $6,500. Then we tried to get the town to take it over and that took a little while, but they did. So that saved $6,500 that we didn't need anymore. So we're giving that back. Second year, we were a little iffy on whether we were going to get it done or not. So we cut that in half and town did it again. So that's like $9,000 did not use for those 2 years. We've had other projects. We have monies in there for trees and things that we've had to take down. We've used some money to prune trees and take down trees that block the paths and the trails and things like that were beyond the scope of a few of us.
On that scale of ability.
So some of that money got used, some didn't. And we've been around some of it for 3 years now. So we put that back into the fund or whatever you have to do with it.
But one quick question, why a stone wall? And where exactly is it? Because I'm very
Okay,
confused.
let's get to that. Explain.
Oh, you are?
So
Awesome.
as we continue on, there's a lot of traffic on that little parking area, which we already expanded once to go farther south. Part that's we're basically want to expand is the one that's kind of got the 6x6 posts around it.
Okay, so if you come in the driveway, left or right?
Left.
Oh, so,
The north end. Or
okay, thank you.
Now, one set of those posts is standing the way we put it.
Okay.
It
We have
seems a bit-
individuals that
Well,
stop after the post.
They bump it,
They
yeah.
they go through.
I felt kind of confused. I wasn't getting, I was thinking about this wall that people would ram into instead of going down into the meadow.
They don't knock the
It'll be
posts down.
substantial.
Thank you.
We'll
Well,
knock this one around.
I look at it almost every day.
But also to do that, out here, this parking area is 60 feet wide. One we have there now is
45.
Well, yeah,
We want.
we have to add 24 feet to it. So if we build the stone wall, it'll be towards the east side,
Towards the lake.
towards the lake, okay? North and south is 183, east and west is New York State. So we have to go a little bit to the west, which is the 183 side. We have to gain like 4 feet and we'll square that off. Rest would go the other direction. The boards, the wooden fencing, or whatever you want to call it, would have to go away. The wall would go closer towards the kiosk and there'd have to be fill in there, but they've been saying they're gonna redo 183 for years now. But if they grind it, then maybe we can use some of that grindings for fill or parking lot area. So if we make it 60 feet wide, we'll be able to park 9 more cars,
We can go both ways.
both sides with a
Okay.
back out turnaround.
Okay.
That's all we're gonna gain now, because I got some feedback on making it larger than that. So that section of the parking area will be capable of holding 18 cars. And the other end, the south side, I think holds 7 or something like that. That should be sufficient for what we need for now.
I think the turning and backing space is important because I see people suffering.
But this is Stockbridge. They drive any which way they want.
Well, also the Stockbridge visitors. So,
The posts have suffered.
yeah.
But not everybody that uses that area is with Stockbridge.
No, I understand.
I'm guessing 60% of the cars parked there are from some other town.
There was an RV parked there for 2 days overnight. I can't remember when that was. I went by, wait a minute, he's taking up like 6 places.
Yes.
That's not fair. And it's not free.
I don't think it's permitted,
That's
actually.
because our place we're up at the sportsman's club. They didn't get up there that.
Just they have free membership, so they go there all the time now.
Well, anyways,
Okay.
we're gonna gain 9 spaces by widening the parking area.
That's important.
Where the entranceway comes in, it's 110 feet from corner to where we're gonna go. The total project was like $90,000, and I said, I can't ask for that.
45%.
So we're gonna do half of it this year and half next year, possibly. We'll see how it goes. And then we'll build a wall and move the parking lot to the full 60 feet. Maybe even a little more, because I might give a grassy area between the park, where the parking ends and the wall, so they, hit a little push.
Also in the wall, there'll be an opening so one can enter the trail. And right now, the opening or in our rail wooden system is very steep and elderly stumble down. And by building the wall and an appropriate path, it'll be a 5% degree, which is acceptable for handicap access and egress.
Right now, the parking area sort of empties down the path.
Yeah.
It'll enhance the general area and also make it safe.
So it'll make the grade more reasonable, and it's not gonna be steps or anything, right?
No,
Probably not, because if we do steps, then we gotta do railing and then.
Yeah,
And then it's it's not ADA compliant.
More rules.
So back to the field for a minute. The largest piece that has the, oak tree, was not mowed. Is that for protection of species or
Everything's been mowed now.
is it now
Yeah,
down?
it has been mowed since,
Okay,
Have a hand up too.
because I know
Last year they got snow on the ground before we get. This year it's been mowed.
Yes, I was recognizing there were more plants in general across the,
There's a plaque under that tree for Mary Flynn now.
indeed.
There was some question about benches. I had benches been riding around the back of my truck for 3 months now, whatever. I got
Also another bench.
enough sold together to put it in the field.
Okay.
And was some question about invasives. If we get to that, it'll be by volunteers. So there'd be no.
Well, that's one of the things that we like the best about this project is that not only does it benefit everybody in town, but it also is, so much of the labor has been done by volunteers, and
That's a nice mix.
it checks every box. Kate?
Yeah, thank you. Ron's already heard from me on this. And I would just urge that this is one of the gateways to town. We know that Mary Flynn put so much thought into the approaches to town, and this is one of those. So I would just urge a as naturalistic approach as possible with permeable dirt surface for parking area. And think Frederick Law Olmsted in his later years, keep it as wild as possible. Thank you.
Okay. You will keep that in mind using stone. Looks like it ought to be
Has
there.
to be, it could be a 3-year project, but I've only if you do 3 years, the price of things are gonna go up.
Yeah, the materials.
It's got a set price on the stone that's needed and the labor involved.
Pay for it and stuff.
Highway department.
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Gary.
And
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
So for clarification, is that coming from general funds or from the open space reserve?
Open space reserve or general fund?
Could have bribed them.
Are we funding it using the open space?
Need the number put to what?
How much do we have?
3,000
Thank you.
Stay warm.
from the open space reserve.
Yeah, let's take that from the open space reserve. Is that good with everybody?
Sure. Me.
Yeah.
As they put back,
They did a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to see it returned, I guess.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for the detail. It's helpful to show up and talk to us. So thank you.
Try to get an artist rendition of the whole thing.
Okay.
I've been playing driving Miss Daisy, so this is coming.
reserve.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, so that's going to come from the reserve. So that cuts down our expenditure by not a heck of a lot, but some.
So
So we're down to about 250 with everything else.
So then we have Laurel Hill,
which I
Fuller
think
Woods, Botanical Garden, and more.
is a lovely. The Botanical Garden, we still need to find out what our public benefit is. I mean, the sportsman clubs pays taxes and they do gun safety and all that stuff, preserve land.
I've been watching the Botanical Garden programs. All of them you have to reserve.
And pay.
Tickets are expensive.
Yeah.
And there's no benefit to Stockbridge. It doesn't say, Stockbridge residents, something, something.
Yeah, well, that's what we have to find out from them, because I think they need to,
I mean, they have a terrible situation with their divided campus anyway, so I think that we need to make that better to the extent we're allowed.
but I think it would be nice if they offered, free admission to Stockbridge residents
Like the Harvest Fair.
a few times a week or a month, or something.
I don't think they'll ever do it without some stipulation, timing wise, because, they've had big fundraising issues. And maybe part of it's because they've expanded a lot and doing many, many more public programs than they used to.
But if you were, we talked about this. If you are the Berkshire Botanical Garden and you have free admission to Stockbridge residents a couple or 3 times a month, that Stockbridge resident is going to bring his or her family.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Who are going to pay.
Yeah.
Or they're going to say, wow, you should really see that exhibition. I mean, having free admission to Stockbridge residents is a benefit, not only to the town, but to the institution, I think.
I think they could consider doing it at slower times, having that benefit, like say every Thursday during the month of
But they'd obviously have to do some sort of an analysis to determine, they're asking for so little money.
Right.
Like, how much do they make off of Stockbridge residents versus $7,000?
They would. But still, I think the whole, we've come back to the whole anti-aid thing. And I think that it's important for the institutions that don't pay taxes to give back in some way.
I agree.
So that's a question we will ask.
So back to.
So Laurel Hill is asking for 60,000 to work on the Chestnut Preserve. They wanted to get rid of one of the driveways. Kate, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So basically, we've all heard the news about the latest trash dumping. It's not the first time. This was most definitely the most egregious example of that. But before that happened, part of the plan was to close off that north entrance with, probably about to start 15-foot trees, because they have to be substantial enough so that people don't just run over them. And then use a landscaping to keep people from driving up on what is sort of the green area. And then we would put in a pollinator garden sort of along the edge of the green where you look out towards Ice Glen in between the green and the meadow. And then just plant some trees for habitat as well as for shade for folks who are coming there in the summertime. And in terms of the area down below, there's 2 distinct areas, the lower area and the upper area. That lower area, we would put in a farm gate so that Laurel Hill can control access to that a little bit better. And then again, do some, plant some sort of native trees there. All of this, I should preface this by saying that I've been in touch with Jeff Van Dremmer, the archaeologist for the Stockbridge Muncie community. And so all of this is dependent on what we find underneath the ground. So we would, definitely work in coordination with Jeff and anyone else from the tribe who is interested to make sure that we're not trespassing in terms of the history there underfoot. So that's what we have in mind. Basically, habitat, creating a lot of birders use that space, creating a space for people to just come and reflect and look at the view. I'm told that painters like to come there and do landscape painting. And then for the birders, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
I think we mentioned that the Conservation Commission has trees that could be free.
Yes, definitely. I've been in conversation with Lisa and our tree warden, and it's just sort of a fun project because it involves a lot of collaboration, and but it is also involved in terms of that closing off that north entrance. Potentially, we have to. I'm hoping that if we stay 40 feet from the center of the road, that will be clear of MassDOT.
Okay. Kate, what could you reduce your request for if you got free trees?
Depending on their height, I'd say we could. There's also one challenge there is going to be in closing off that northern entrance. It's pretty compacted. So we have to provide, healthy soil for those trees to go in. And we are, as we speak, we are looking into that cost. And
Okay.
I'm just not exactly sure. That's probably going to involve, potentially a backhoe. I don't know. But we do have to, it's right now, it's very compacted. It's a driveway. So we'll have to provide a better environment for those trees. So do you know, are the trees that you have, are they bare root or are they?
We have money for trees.
Okay.
So we made a deal with National Grid when they put the electric line across the swamp between Route 7 and Clark Road, that they would provide the Conservation Commission with 46 trees in.
What about, do you have funds
planting there
for planting them or just the trees?
No, so we get, some of them are going into Bidwell Park around the perimeter, and then I think we have 23 trees left. I think there was some talk about putting them somewhere else. So there might be, 10 or 15 trees that could get planted there.
Do you know what type of trees they are?
No, you choose.
But what's available?
I don't know. We'd have to find out.
Any white pine? Because I'm thinking white pine for the north entrance because there already is a tall stand of white pine there.
Yeah.
And
we can choose. We got the money, not the trees.
Okay, so I would say that to answer your question, we could probably knock about 10,000 off if you can help us out with trees.
Good to know. Okay, that's good. All right, Bullard Woods, 10,000 for invasive removal. Botanical Garden we need to talk to, Berkshire Waldorf, the park bench.
Well, that's interesting.
Patrick, are you still there?
I am, and I've been here the whole meeting, if that gives me some credits too.
It does.
$35,000.
So this park bench, I don't necessarily get to be the aesthetic police, but that wouldn't have been what I would have chosen for that area.
Use that. That's like a first draft by that awesome kid, Sergi Del Molino, who lives on Glendale Middle Road. He's an amazing woodworker. This is like a first draft design, and I would welcome, of all my skills, designing benches is not one of them, and I would welcome feedback and anybody who wants to participate in giving Sergio and his business partner John feedback on the design. I would welcome it. It is, intended to be constructed of wood with the back parts being, fabricated out of metal for durability reasons, because, you don't want to put the wood in the ground. And as far as the plantings go, it is those trees are big enough so that once they grow in after a season or two, they'll completely obscure the electrical transformer. And one last point I would make is that is on the opposite corner of the combined property with the church and the town as the memorials. It's literally in the opposite corner. I think we should put a bench in, though. I think it's great for people to be able to reflect, and it's obviously year-round use. Whereas we're not in session in June, July, and August. So, but Linda, if you have any feedback, or Sally, or whoever wants to participate, I am the decider, and it would actually welcome input.
What color will it be?
It's like a natural wood color, I think, like a unfinished oak color is what it looks like, but I don't know. They're wood slats.
But for $35,000, what wood are you using? I mean,
it's a giant bench. It seats like 15 people. It wraps around that entire perimeter.
Well, I got the picture, but
yeah,
That's what it says, though.
it's just so incongruous, it seems, unless it's going to be something very, very bland.
I mean, it's going to have a backdrop of all those plantings, so it basically wraps around the plantings. And it doesn't have to be that big either. We'll look at however we want to design it. I think the town should be involved in the design of it. It's really kind of like perceived to be the town green. Technically, that's part of the property that we own, but you go 20 feet toward the road and the town owns it. So, the more input, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it's abutting and it's part of a National Register property. And it shouldn't stand out like a sore thumb. And I think it's a lovely idea to, commemorate this young man, but then you've got the little grind here of the historic preservation and the monuments to the veterans, and we have the Stockbridge Muncie community site there. Before the shovel goes in the ground, we better make sure that's open.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is obviously an open space proposal, not historic preservation, but at a personal level, I hear you and would welcome any feedback, Linda, that you have, including making it smaller if you think that's better. I just want to make sure that year round that the awful transformer is obscured.
Well, landscaping would be cheaper.
Well, we did that. Yeah,
$38,000.
Well, we've already spent the money on the landscaping, though.
All
And
right.
Patrick, you said it goes all the way around, but on the proposal, it actually says it's a quarter of a circle.
True.
It's not quite, it's a little more than a quarter, and basically it goes all the way around the part that faces the driveway into the parking lot and the front of the building.
So again, other than the generous commemoration of this student, its primary purpose is to hide the electrical transformer. Is that accurate?
No, I think the primary purpose is to provide seating for people to reflect on the green, and I think that it has the added benefit of being a second layer of obscuring the transformers.
Last year, Gould Meadow applied for a bench, didn't they? And it was like $1,500.
Right. Yeah, and those, they want to put
commemorative
more.
bench. It
Yeah,
was like
that's
$1,500.
That's what he has in the back of his truck right now.
Yeah, he made it. He got the number for it.
So
This is custom made too, though. Come on, this is like a custom fabrication for an arched bench. This is
It looks
basically
like it's made with a 3D printer.
no. This is all wood.
I think the maintenance on this is going to be a nightmare. And this is not my first rodeo with park benches. On ePay, if you want it to last more than 5, particularly where people might carve it up. You want to give them something they can't carve up.
Yeah, especially if it's made of wood.
Yeah.
And Patrick, is the school going to fundraise in other ways? Are you asking the town to pay the full freight for the bench?
No,
It looks
we've
like
already paid for. We paid for the design and for the landscaping already ourselves. you know, I mean, look at that project was well funded. We did end up with about $400,000 in debt that we borrowed to finish that project. And it's a project that would have easily cost $1 million to $1.5 million for the town to tear it down. So I think that we did the town a solid, but I understand where you're coming from. It's just, you know, we're gonna figure out a way to put a bench in there, and certainly participation of CPC gives you guys skin in the game of being able to, you know, contribute and frankly help dictate what that looks like. So I would encourage the project. I think it's a great addition where there's not a lot of seating space. To listen to the chime tower, a lot of times people are sitting on the grass, you know, which some people don't like now with ticks and such. But you know, I think that it sort of helps the overall town green design. I think that the question of whether it were you know, some kind of precast that would not be carvable is an interesting point. Obviously, we would never come back to CPC for maintenance money. That would be on us because you can't do maintenance with CPC funds. So, you know,
Public use.
There's a bench just past there too, which people should, I mean,
Across the
right on the,
street.
no, it's on the corner. It's like, here's the school and there's a bench right over there where you see the golf course. I have a little dog, we walk there.
It would seem to me that there are a lot of benches around town that could be the model for this bench that would be.
Actually, even you know, the little stone wall that's by the library
That would
would
be
be
cute.
more appropriate than.
yeah, that's a good idea.
I like that idea.
So why don't you add 5,000 administrative funds and we'll go back to the design drawing board.
Cannot use administrative funds unless you're hiring somebody. It's
We
gonna
did
make,
hire someone. We hired Sergio and John.
so we're done then hiring.
Kate?
So the location is not where the Memorial Day Parade talk at the end takes place. Is that right?
Yes and
It is,
no.
that's where the transformer is.
The transformer is closer to the second driveway, the exit driveway.
Yeah, that's right next to it.
But that's where everything happens, or did.
Yeah, right there.
Okay, all right. So,
Oh, Anne would like to.
Anne?
Could those yellow poles be painted white so they don't stick out so much, surrounded by evergreen bushes that are going to be just a little bit taller than them, and a plain, very plain bench that is similar to in other places in town, because otherwise it's going to distract from the town hall, which is what we want to look at from the school. We don't want to look at benches and things. We just want to look at the town hall because it's beautiful. Something very plain, simple, and be done with it.
I think you have a good point.
Yeah.
Because I think if you, no offense, Patrick, but I think if you put something like that in there, it doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit the character of the whole spot.
It's too modern looking.
Yeah.
I really agree with Anne's remarks too. I really think that it pulls focus pretty dramatically from the grandeur of the town hall.
It's so beautiful right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, I understand the memorial bench and I wouldn't have a problem with the memorial bench, but if it just matched other benches that are around town, it makes more sense, simple, you know?
Simple.
It doesn't have to seat 15 people.
And maybe the greenery will do the job of the transformer, and the bench could be somewhere that doesn't pull focus from
That's true.
the architecture, like this completely restored architecture.
So what I'd be willing to do is to certainly have the school fund a redesign process that would whether it's a stone wall kind of approach or whatever, really, Linda, that you and the historic commission are looking for. It would be great if we could appropriate some of the money to actually get started, because it's so ugly right now that I would love to be able to start with whatever we come up with July 1st. So, you know, but if it's a matter of coming up with several $1,000s to redesign what was the initial concept that Sergio and John came up with, I'd be happy to commit the school to funding that process ourselves with your help.
I think you need to look at people who are municipal designers and work with municipal and town landscapes. You know, there's a lot going on there that you have to consider.
Like I said, Linda, I'm happy to let you take the lead on this in terms of advice and counsel.
But wouldn't that mean that we would be funding an unknown? We wouldn't.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that it wouldn't be appropriate for me, or the historical commission would probably prefer to see something a little less statement type thing, you know. People do need to sit down. I agree with that, but I don't think it suits the neighborhood.
Match the benches, just match. I mean,
Yeah.
if you could just get a bench that we already have around town, they're not hard to find.
And it wouldn't need to be necessarily there.
Right,
Is it the
could be
green?
anywhere.
Or find out who Gould Meadows haven't built their wall, because that doesn't seem to be.
This is a lovely gesture.
But
I mean, it's a lovely gesture to honor.
It is.
Absolutely, and I think they should. It's
Oh,
the
no.
wall. That's a big
But yeah,
expense.
Ron did do the bunch.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I think we need to look, see. But we want to set some precedents for good design for the village, you know, this is a village improvement society. Laurel Hill, you know, has
Thank you.
helped.
Laurel Hill has benches.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
The
keep
question
thinking,
here
well,
was whether, how to curve it around to match the eyesore that's there. you
Yeah,
know.
I
That's what you wanna-
don't, I think if your evergreens are gonna grow, I'm not sure you have to do that. I understand that you want to cover it up right now, but I may be patience in waiting for it to grow.
Something,
And having a bench that memorializes him somewhere,
Or-
there or in another part of the property.
something that is in sections. When the trees grow big. So this is a really monolithic piece. Even without any dimensions given to us, it just reads big and different.
I'm gonna jump on Gary's idea that the wall by the library, and that's beautiful and that fits into the town. So something like that to go around would, I think,
That you could sit on.
you can sit on.
People.
Everybody sits
all the time.
I sit on that.
Yeah.
Spent my teenage.
I get off of it.
I mean, that's not gonna function as the,
You could have a plaque in it.
right, I mean, as
Memorializing the
we need to let the trees do
boy.
their work.
Yeah.
We need to let as far as obscuring the electrical box, I mean, that's what the point of the greenery but this memorial could be the wall, it could be a simpler bench, it could be in a different place. Just seems like we're doing a lot of unknowns.
So maybe they could come back to it on the 17th.
I think we might.
Yeah, maybe you can come back to us on the 17th when you've talked to some folks, Patrick. What do you think?
Okay,
Yeah,
I
just
think that's a wonderful plan.
if you could bat those ideas around with them.
Mhm.
And we certainly don't.
No.
I think it's just, it didn't fit very well.
All right, so, do we have anything that we voted on the,
We talked about Bullard Woods yet?
No.
Okay.
And one of the
Invasive.
things that the town council mentioned about the Bullard Woods project was ongoing projects. I wasn't sure about because I know that they've been working on this and I'm not opposed to that because it's certainly a place where lots of people go.
Was this the proposal that came in the last meeting? And you asked them if they came to conservation before?
They came for the kiwi. I remember that, but I'm not sure if this is a
There's several
different
plants
project, then they
that are
would need
mentioned.
to, they need to come back to
Something's on the sofa
conservation.
at home.
So theoretically,
And like the barberry, they wouldn't treat the barberry, they would pop it. They have those things and they wouldn't have to treat the bittersweet. if they come up with the kiwi, they're probably going to have to try it because there really isn't any other way to get rid of it, which is unfortunate, but the other invasives can be done by hand.
So theoretically, if we fund this, they would have to go to conservation and then you guys could deny.
Well, they're gonna do, even if we don't let them do the herbicides, they still have lots of, it is covered with barberry. It's
Yeah.
just awful.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of work and that's a lot of digging and it's a lot of, so I think that it's not gonna not happen because if we tell them they can't use herbicides.
It's going to be way more than the 10,000. Is that what I'm sorry, I missed that last.
I said it's not that they're not going to do it if we tell them that they can't use herbicides.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the ticks love barberry.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
And that is, so it's really hampering the use of the space by having all those invasive species in it. So that's a good thing. But yeah, because Kripalu came to us for invasive species too a couple years ago.
Did that go through? I'm just trying to remember.
did.
Yes, because had the methodology nailed. There was no poison, anything.
Right. I mean, they've had to use herbicides in Gould Meadows for some things, but not much. Not Gould Meadows. When there's hardy kiwi, you got to get rid of it.
I don't even know what it looks like. Maybe they're looking
evil.
Give me kiwi.
All right. So
Okay.
Rockwell wants the tree. 250 got nixed. But we're still, and then we have the upgrade to the playground, which is really an important thing to do, I think.
So if anybody has taken a walk over to the brown structure right now, there are pieces that the DPW had to remove because it's broken. And our playground is over or around 30 years old, which is normally the time to replace a playground structure. Anything that is coated in that rubber material underneath has been rotting out. So the ladders that are coated are actually rusted underneath, and that's how the ladder snapped. There's just parts that are just, you can see where it's just rusted, it's falling apart. It's been there since I was at Plain School, and that was 20-something years ago. So you could just go and start replacing the pieces, but as of right now, I haven't been able to find a company that still makes these products that fits what we're looking to do.
Is the dome?
So
The screwed up
dome?
that one got replaced by insurance.
Okay.
One that the tree fell through. So this is that big.
Thank you to the tree.
Yeah, so
Let's get some more trees.
besides that dome, that's the only thing that has been replaced at the playground since I was little. And it's just, it needs updating, it needs repairs. Pretty soon, it probably just all needs to be replaced. If you've ever walked on it, it's really slippery. All that coating is gone. So at this point, I would say it could get hazardous really quickly. And then just in the proposal, you can just see like a slide is $10,000. The rail for a glider, that's $5,000. That's not even the posts that are holding it up. So this is something that would be a few years worth of fundraising and grants. And so the parks, we would just love any jump that we can get on just making a safe playground for everybody.
Is there any prioritization right now of which things are very dangerous as opposed to less dangerous?
Yeah, so we've been removing a few pieces that have been, so those are gone. So if you go there now, there's string to places that or not string, the DPW, Bob did a great job, blocking off places that kids can fall off of because of missing pieces. So it doesn't look great. I don't even know how insurance would feel about it. But it's been 30 plus years. I can't find anybody that knows the exact date that that playground went in. But it was definitely during the time of the Plain School with the PTO that I do know. But it's going to be a long project. It's going to be expensive. It costs as much for the labor as the parts are. And we all know that labor and parts are going up. So anything that can help get some of the stuff replaced in the hopes of building a new playground around those new pieces.
I've read about some playgrounds that are built by groups, PTOs and parents and stuff like that. Is there something reasonable that?
Not that I've been able to find.
Get to Tinker Toy?
The what?
Tinker Toys, big Tinker Toys.
That'd be a fun design.
So it's hard because when this was a school, there was a lot of time and love and effort that went into the playgrounds because it was used by all the school kids. Now that the schools are up the roads, the playgrounds just kind of took a back seat to everything. I haven't found a group like that. I am trying to start an OSRP committee, but that's.
What does that mean?
Open space and recreation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All the boxes. The plan is really close to being done. We just need some surveys, and then you can apply for state-funded grants. That Stockbridge has never applied for one of these grants ever, but you also need to match what the state gives, and they reimburse up to. Well, this year they reimburse up to 52%. That's going down every year. So there's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of time crunch things that are happening. But honestly, we would love anything that we can get to get some of these broken pieces out and updated. And then you can plan playgrounds around those pieces so you're not wasting money replacing something and then tearing it down and building something new. They can be incorporated into a new design.
It sounds as though this is an opportune time for us to do this, if you can get the better state match.
Yes, yep, absolutely. So the OSRP actually needs somebody from the finance and the planning board and all these different town boards to sit on it. So if anybody's interested.
I know my grandchildren love it, so for whatever that's worth.
Pickleball, pavilion.
Open space, recreation and planning.
I guess my question is, how much money are you going to put into fixing things and then you have a major amount of money to put in for a new one? Is it worth the fixes right now, or do you just go for the?
I would love to go for the whole thing.
I hate seeing money going in that's really not going to be.
But those pieces, so that ladder, if we replace it, if I can find a piece that fits, we could take that piece and add it to the new. So you do have to pay a little bit for labor. If the DPW can't install it, you would have to pay somebody else. But if this is going to be like a 4, 5, 6 year plan, you might have to replace that ladder so a kid doesn't fall off.
Right.
So it's honestly, it can go, yes.
Then the lawsuit.
Yeah. So in the proposal, you can kind of see what a playground would cost.
Right.
300,000 would fill up that space. And that is with labor included, but not wage, not everything. Yeah.
You could have, we looked into this with the Affordable Housing Trust. Yes. Yeah. And it was a very expensive thing, but but you could get people to come in and do the basic bottom. All the digging and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wouldn't have to be done through them.
No,
it might be a volunteer thing that you could get somebody like a tree, whatever, whoever has.
Absolutely. I would love to be as community as possible. And doing wood chips is way cheaper than the foam and
it's probably healthier.
Yes. And it's more us.
I really don't want to see that foam.
No, it's terrible. Do you know how gross that gets? But it doesn't fit into Stockbridge.
It's also not very helpful.
So it's,
Talk to me later.
yes, I would love, if possible, in the next 2 years to tear it down, build a new one, make it safe, inclusive. But that just costs a lot of, sorry, Gary, I'm not trying to cut you off.
no,
It just
you're
costs a lot of money.
Right.
And so I was originally going to ask for a lot more, and then I saw what we were having to work with, and I cut it way back.
Yeah.
So according to Erica, we have $500,000 in nothing, no pocket, no bucket.
Well, that's the amount that you're splitting between
The
the
three.
categories.
So we have,
Yeah.
No, wait.
That's
I'm
where we
really
got the
confused.
so then you have
175.
166, 666 each.
So, but is that what we're expecting to come in this year or?
Yes. Yeah, that's the estimated amounts. That's what's,
Okay.
that's what's
All right,
left
all
over. from the
right. So
balance.
do we have, what money do we have that from previous years that we haven't spent?
The reserve from the prior years was 185,000.
That's all.
That's part of the 515.
Okay, so we're getting really poor.
Yeah.
And does open space have also sort of what I call the slush fund, that extra?
Yes,
Leftover?
they have the 83,000
83,
and then
okay.
you approved 45 for the gold medal. So they have about 38,000.
Right, okay.
Boy, it sucks not to have money, doesn't it?
I mean, we were spoiled.
We used to be so
We
much
were
fun.
spoiled, yeah.
Generous.
Wow. All right, so we have $100,000 that we don't have.
Sally.
Patrick and Ann.
Oh, okay, Anne?
I might have missed this, but how much, is this just for repairs meanwhile, or is it towards a new playground? And how much did you say the new playground would cost as opposed to just piecemeal repairing?
So piecemealing, it could be it could be 10, 20, 30,000, depending on what we actually have to replace. And the structure that's there now, it's old enough that they didn't put their logo on it anywhere.
They didn't have logos.
Yes, that's the point. They didn't have logos back then. So finding replacement parts has been really difficult to the specification and the style and all that stuff. So we're hoping that this would go towards rebuilding a new playground that's inclusive, that's safe. It's because in the next 10 years, it's not going to survive. This playground's crumbling.
Mhm.
That sounds really harsh, but
It's true.
And how much would a new one cost?
so one that will fit that size of that second level could be up to 300,000 to 500,000. If you want to use all the space, you can definitely dwindle it down. You can make it bigger. It's really what features you want to add to it. You can just do a nice ropes coursey one, and that will cut down the cost. Or you can do bigger and better. It really depends on the budget you're working with for how big or how small you want it.
And who
Could
you,
you build a new one and incorporate some of the old pieces that are still in good condition and that will probably last more than 10 years?
Yeah, so there's not much that I would assume besides, I haven't really looked at the slide, but most of them, if you look, I doubt it will last another 10, 15 years. So if we're going to do it, we should do it.
And you could get a 52% match of whatever we gave you?
Yeah, so if there's an OSRP committee that's formed, you do have to do town surveys and get feedback, which I think is fantastic. It's a really community-oriented group. And through that, you can apply to the state for, it's called the Park Grant. Parkland Acquisition Recreation. I forget what the letters for that are. But this past year, if Stockbridge did have it and did apply, they could pay up to 52% of the total costs. You do have to pay the rest, but they don't guarantee the 52%. But when I've been talking to the lady from the state, she did mention that Stockbridge is very much overdue for this grant because we've never even applied. So, but next year it could go down from 52% to something else. We don't know until all the numbers come in.
Can you write the grant before you put this group together?
I did.
Or offer
The packet right now is about 95% done. It goes over watersheds, it goes over sewer, it goes over everything of the town. We can't write the grant until we have at least 2 to 3 public surveys or just participation, little seminars. But to do that, you have to form a committee. So I tried.
Okay.
Yep.
I would suggest that we just now put in like 150,000, which could be 50% of it, and hoping that Katie could get the other 50%.
We don't have that money.
We don't have that.
She said 50,000, I think.
I said 150. I thought we had like
But that's
500.
no.
We don't have that much.
That's
floating,
for
no.
everybody.
That's for
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. How much do we have floating around that we haven't used yet?
Not enough.
Yeah. No, but we could make a dent. We could make a dent.
Plus 1,000. Plus.
Patrick has his hand up. I don't know if it's.
Hey, Patrick?
Yeah, here's the thing to remember. First, thank God for Katie Sweet, because for 5 years I asked for that plan of what it would cost, for what Parks and Rec needed. And until, and I don't want to criticize, but it's been great that she's on this board and looking at this now. I look at these are the kind of investments that should be amortized over the life of the asset. So in this case, Katie's talking about a 20-year improvement, which suggests to me that a significant portion of this should be bonded out over 20 years, which is the life of the asset. If you need $500,000, Katie, to do this project, that's only about $30,000 a year, which is 0.3% of my taxes, which is about $20, I guess. I don't know, a year. I think that this is something that where CPC should be part of the capital stack, but that the town and the state grants should provide the lion's share of the money and have it bonded out over 20 years and invest in the kids over the next 20 years. That's how big capital projects are typically funded. And Katie, if I'd be happy to kind of help you develop that budget if you want, because it's completely appropriate.
Yeah, that would be amazing because I only picked up a little bit of what you were dropping. But it makes sense, but I don't I'm not a numbers person.
Basically, you take a project with a 20-year lifespan and you finance it over 20 years so that the people who are paying for the project are getting the benefit of it. And it's not $500,000, it's $30,000 a year. And that's kind of how I would look at big capital investment projects. I think there's a great way for CPC to show an endorsement of that idea with a grant, but the idea that CPC funds rather than the general taxpayers should pay for what is a large capital improvement project. We did this with the Chime Tower and the Soldiers Monument. We financed them over 20 years because there's a long-term benefit to those repairs. And all you're looking at is to take the same strategy and apply it here.
Yeah, I would love any help you can give, Patrick. I would appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Patrick, does that mean she would withdraw from the CPC request and this would be a different route entirely? Or would the CPC layer into this?
I think that CPC, one of the ways CPC helps is it shows that the folks around that table endorse a project idea. It's not realistic for the $500,000 to come from CPC, but the 25 or 50 grand, which is 5 or 10% of the total project cost, as a condition that you can bring to town meeting and say, Parks and Rec is an elected board. They have every right to bring to town meeting a proposal for the improvements they feel they need. And this would be an example of a way for you to endorse a concept while providing part of what they call the capital stack. Randy Warner, and I think that's entirely appropriate.
Okay, I'm looking at figures here. We took out 45,000. We're going to take that out of the reserve. So right now, if Laurel Hill, we did 40,000 because we can probably give them $10,000 worth of trees. SBA 10,000, Botanical Gardens a maybe. We'll have to see what we consider to be public benefit for the Botanical Garden.
Sally, just to be clear, we were requesting 60 to start.
Right.
for Laurel Hill.
So we
That
were
was a
knocking it down
60?
to 50.
All right, 50. Okay.
Sorry.
I mean, without disparaging the request for the bench, if I had to weigh the playground against the bench, I would go for the playground.
I would also.
Just because I think that is the sort of key to the recreational part of our town. And a bench to sit on is really nice, but I don't see that as the same critical need. That's just me.
Well, it's really the only playground, right?
Yeah, it is.
Because
Oh,
other
there's the
things are
one
at
in
the
Interlaken.
schools.
It's a disaster.
And
There's the one in
Interlaken is
Interlaken.
not,
It's gonna be after this for sure.
you don't see it used very much, the Interlaken.
It doesn't, no.
Use it more if it was not so rusty.
So if
We had
we
to
did,
message for lead.
Rich parts they were.
if we did that, if we did 50 for Laurel Hill, 10 for the Bowl Association, 75 for the Botanical Garden, and that's an if we can get around the anti-aid thing. 6,000 to Norman Rockwell and 100,000 to Parks and Rec, that comes up to our 173,000.
Mm-hmm.
How much to Parks and Rec?
100.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds good.
Do you want to look at any for the Sportsman's Club?
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, and plus, we don't have to give them 100,000. I mean, if Patrick's right about the stack and doing it over 20
Yeah.
years, we don't have to give that much.
I forgot the Sportsman's Club.
No, let's not forget.
Because it was, how much did they want? 30,000.
25, or no,
30.
30, yeah.
All right, but we just went over.
How about 25 for the Sportsman?
Yeah.
Well,
Would that get it down?
Oh, well, there's still the 38 in the open space undesignated too.
Okay.
yeah, but I really don't want to
Yeah.
spend it all down.
It'll have less next year.
Well, I would take the 75 out for the Berkshire Botanical Garden. I just,
Mhm.
You think they haven't made the anti-aid?
I mean, they've had all this time to do
They can,
some more stuff.
yeah, all right, I'd be willing to do that. So do you want to say no on that, Gary?
I would.
How does everybody else feel?
I agree.
The three.
I agree. Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah.
I totally agree with what Sally said, and a lot of visitors ask about playgrounds and things for kids to do in this town.
They do.
And also with the bandstand that I believe is still in the planning stage.
Yeah,
You know,
so
you
that's, oh, sorry, and I cut you off. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So what I'm saying is, you know, a playground is even more important once there's a door for adults, you know, like kids can go on the playground while the adults are listening to music or whatever.
Mhm.
So the pavilion is getting installed in the spring when the ground unthaws, and I have a grant from the Massachusetts Culture Council to do live music for free for the summer.
Oh,
Wow.
awesome.
So
So we spent wisely. All right. So do I have a motion to say no to the Botanical Garden?
So moved. Oh, you can
Second.
make it. I will make it.
Second?
I second.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
Hi, Patty.
Jay, I know.
I keep.
Vote to not grant it. Okay.
I'm supposed.
Anne?
I am.
Okay. So we are 1, 2, 3, 8, 7-1.
Right.
Okay. So, I would rather see the $35,000 go to the playground than the bench.
I would also.
So do I hear a motion for that?
Were we asking him to come back with a different plan so that?
We were, but we're getting down to the nitty gritty. And I really think that the playground is
More important.
it's really
Yeah.
such an important thing.
I agree.
And especially if we have the opportunity to get a really good grant this year that we might not be able to get another year.
Mhm.
I have the motion. I'll bring the motion.
Okay. Second.
Second.
P-C-A-R. Aye, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Gary.
I am.
Okay. Sorry, Patrick. All right,
Well,
so,
I think that's fine, but I also would encourage you then, as you vote on the next ones, to recognize that you've got nonprofits with millions of dollars in the bank and make sure there's at least a match on those. You're zero funding one nonprofit who qualifies and 100% funding others. I'm not sure that's fair, but that's just me.
Our nonprofit has a lot of money in the bank. Don't buy that, Stephen.
okay. All right, so what does that leave us with? That leaves us with Laurel Hill with 50.
What's done?
Mhm.
I'd be willing, I'd be in favor of, giving Bullard Woods a haircut. I think.
How much we're
10,000. 5.
Yeah, or 70, I mean, 750, I'm just, yeah.
Is the goal here that we're trying to get to a number and then we give the park rec the leftover, whatever's left? Okay.
And not dip into our
Reserve, okay.
reserves. Well, that's the hard part.
Well, do we have to fully fund the Sportsman's Club? Could we give them a haircut? Because theirs is
We
30.
could.
I think that could be a problem
Okay.
because of the construction costs are out of sight.
I would like to see that project funded for what they do for the police and everything.
Right.
They support our police department really well.
Okay.
Could we give Laurel Hill a little bit less?
Well, we're giving them a little bit less
Okay, right.
because they can get the trees from
Right.
the Concom. Which Kate said was probably $10,000. Should be good. 50.
So we're 200,000.
Bullard Woods is 5. Botanical Garden, no. Waldorf, no. Gould Meadows. Took out of the other. 6,000 to Rockwell.
That's 106.
Does Walter have to come back with another proposal?
Who?
The bench, Walter?
No, we just had to
Already
kill it.
asked that. 90.
All right. Try again, 50,000. I'm not good at this.
Erica, are we actually working with 175 or is it like that 166, 60? Like, what is the actual number we're drawing down from?
Well, you don't need to do one third, one
Oh,
third,
okay,
one
so,
third
okay.
exact. So you do need to do a minimum about 45,000 for each category. But other than that, you can split it however you want to.
Okay,
So if you want to take from one of the other pools,
right, okay.
yeah.
So we're saying we, in this bucket, we're saying 50 to Laurel Hill, 10 to the, potentially less than 10 to the SBA, 6 to Rockwell, 30 to the Sportsman Club, and we're just looking for that, how much less than 100 we're at.
If you want to do it that way.
And the total we had in that pot.
There was 515,000.
Right.
We're still over.
How?
Katie, would 75,000 do for you?
I'd be happy with anything to get a project jump started. Because especially with the grants, you need to prove that there's other funding on the table.
But it doesn't ask how much.
It doesn't, it usually says up to 50% of the project, which
But it
that
doesn't
wouldn't
say.
be, but
It doesn't give you a minimum.
no, it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
But with the grant from the state, you have 3 years to use it, so you can bank it for a little bit and then reapply the next year and see if you can get more. But there's a lot of hoops to jump through if you do it that way.
Well, we could do 40 for Laurel Hill. That'd get us closer. I mean, they can ask next year for more for more.
Sally, I would just add that this is a project that ideally gets completed in a shorter time frame because of the heavy use that it gets.
Okay. Because right now we're at 191,000. If we give Bullard Woods a haircut.
And that's with 75 for the playground?
That's at 100.
Oh, it's at the full 100.
I wouldn't give them the full 100.
It
No.
doesn't sound like it would work with
If it works out the way, if you two can talk about how you can make this happen with over a 20-year thing,
All right.
you don't have to give them.
Because I don't want to keep cutting other projects and not have the other projects get done. Yeah.
Who's that?
All right, well,
Then we can-
then let's think about, we'll do 50,000 for Laurel Hill, we'll do 5,000 for Bullard Woods. I think they've got resources. The 6,000 for the Rockwell, the 30,000 for the Sportsman's Club, and 75 for the playground.
What happened to Gould Meadows?
They're getting, we already took that out of the,
Oh, okay, good.
out of the reserve.
Good. Thank you. So that we just.
Is that good?
75
Yeah,
for the playground.
I don't want other
Five
projects
bucks,
to
yeah.
not get completed.
I just.
Okay, so do I have a motion for that? Or not?
Can we just repeat the bucket just for the record so that everyone has it?
Okay, 50,000 to Laurel Hill, 5,000 to Golden Meadow, or to Bullard Woods. 6,000 to the Rockwell. 30,000 to the Sportsman's Club. And 75 to the town for the playground.
75.
I'd make a motion.
I second.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
I Liz.
Hi, whatever my name is.
I'm so tired.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Anne.
Okay, all right. So do we still need to come back? Yes, we need to
Yes.
come back for the theater. All right, what did we set the?
Sally, could I just say something about the Berkshire Theater Festival? You know, I've been on this thing for quite a few years, and they never seem to come with their homework done, you know? And it's like pulling teeth to get information out of them. And I would say that, you know, at this next meeting, if they don't have their act together, we should react accordingly and maybe put the money someplace else.
Okay.
Just my opinion, but
Is
they just
that,
don't seem to the effort into it.
is that where Patrick could possibly come back with a different design if
No,
Berkshire Theater can?
No,
No, okay,
I think we have to table that.
okay.
different pocket.
So are we on for the 17th?
Yes.
Yes.
all right, thank you, everybody.
What
Thank
time?
you.
Could I ask a question before you leave, just to
Sure.
address Gary's comment? What are you looking for so that we can come prepared for the next meeting? I was not even made aware of this meeting.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect example, Smitty, is that they never come with a specific, you know, it's very nebulous, I would say, most of the time, as to what we get for information.
All right, well, I'm new to this, so I just want to make sure, and I've been in your seats plenty of times over the years. I just want to make sure we're not wasting your time. So what specifically are you looking for the next meeting? And when will we be notified of that next meeting?
It's December 17th at 6 o'clock. It's in the pipe. 6 o'clock.
What you need,
Materials.
what you need to bring in is more of a phased priority situation. Just what we were talking about, what comes first, what's next, to build on your plans. And perhaps you could get the architect to weigh in on a few things.
Sure.
How about a photo of, you know, maybe some kind of a photo of the windows that would show what they look like now.
Just evidence of what should,
what's going to be done.
yeah.
I just would love to thank you all. Definitely appreciate your support. And for those of you on Concom, I guess that's you, Sally.
That's me.
We will be in touch. So
Okay.
thank you. Yeah.
Mitty, talk to Lori Norton Moffett. She always gives us the best applications.
Are you going to finalize the housing allotments at the next meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Thanks.
I second.
Hi, Sally.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Patty.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, Gary.